video. I was just pointing them out, for future reference in case something, I get, yeah, whatever. They, you, I wasn't filming, but they know they all notice for next time. Oh, you know one thing. I ain't say nothing about the what lady was it? Not Swedish. She sunk the ship. The the lesbians captain over in ship captain in somebody's navy. That was about a week or two ago, and yeah, and everybody was getting mad at the prime minister of that country or whatever she is because all she was all she got came out. Oh, that is $100 million ship. Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand. And she comes out. How dare y'all? All y'all care about is she's a female, and yeah, that is like yeah because y'all picked her just for that reason. $100 million ship. And so earlier today, dude was that guy that stayed in that last apartment. He just got remember that he came out and the bitch with the red car came and picked him up and looked like they went and got some handout groceries in boxes and shit, the free food. And so yeah, why they keep flying? Cause look, like I said, I ain't hear no helicopters all day, only until I come out. Then you hear the helicopters. You will hear them in the house. I'm saying it costs gas money. I mean, not gas, but chopper fuel. And y'all, bad, about tax money and that. Like, hey, your chopper fuel, your money flying overhead. Stop whining. And then, so today you see, now in America, some more chicks then crashed. It looks like they died though. They didn't died. Now here you go, Mark Cooper. See, that's what I say. Every time you come out, there's just so much. What's her name again? Rachel Matt. So much to get down. Y'all just
No.
Fucking up, big time.
All right, so Mark Cuban foolishly is embarrassing himself and Kamala Harris after he made a couple of rounds on the media, particularly CNBC, and he was interviewed after a rally. I believe he's finding it increasingly difficult to defend his candidate, and I think he's hedging his bets on who's going to win, but also playing both sides. You're going to see that in this video, which I find interesting. But let's start with the first clip where he fails to defend Kamala Harris when it comes to immigration. Watch.
So when it comes to criminalizing and not criminalizing crossing the border, I mean, that is just so stark, but you view that as an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my opinion. I'm not speaking for the campaign with this.
Yeah.
I thought their hearts were too big when Joe came into office, that they didn't know how many people would cross the border, and it got away from them. But they figured it out. They learned. And what did they do? He put together an executive order, and now the number of border crossings is down to where they were under Trump, maybe a little lower. She says she's going to sign the border bill, which is very clear where she stands now. But let me tell you, the most important thing that has not been discussed, Donald Trump and Kamala both have said when it comes to illegals that are in the country that have violated the law, that are criminals, they're going to deport them. Donald Trump hasn't said what he's going to do to deport anybody else.
All right, so listen, we got to give him some credit because you know what? We know the border was a disaster. It's still a disaster because he's right. They're too compassionate. They have more compassion for these illegal migrants than they do for our own veterans. I mean, it's insane. And I guarantee people would have respected her new generation of leadership talk if she took some level of responsibility for the border, but we know she can't help herself, right? Because everything is Trump's fault, okay?
And the main thing that y'all keep trying to gloss over, you broke the law. So they're not breaking it. You broke the law when you crossed the. No, you can't break a law yourself just because you're doing something. So if you're not, you ain't got no crimes, but your license is suspended. You can't drive a car. You can't go to work to support your family and drive. So it don't matter that you're working. You didn't break. That's what everybody's like. No, dumbass. They broke the law as soon as they crossed the border. It don't matter if they broke. That's like I said. It's like saying you get to do something as long as you're doing it for the right thing. So yeah, they broke the law. All of them broke the law. Every single one. End of story.
So that's the new message. Well, I guess Mark Cuban did not get that memo because he didn't say that. Now, what is interesting also was, he was trying to facilitate a meeting between Kamala Harris and Elon Musk to be hosted on the X platform. Again, just a funny way of defending your candidate, right? Watch this.
I'm a news guy. We all want the interview. I'd actually like to see her do. No, I'd actually. Literally, the conversation. I've had the conversation with her.
But like I said, it's just so much to even look at.
What did he do?
He got a little bit upset.
What did he do?
He got a little bit upset and used his words.
What words did he say though?
The words that you said earlier.
Peacefully and patriotically make your voice heard.
And then what happened after that?
So how were his words actually contributing to that?
Because I think that for me, him being able to just
was beloved by so many people in this country, and he was friends with everybody.
A lot of celebrities.
Jesse Jackson, by the way,
please
his Rainbow Coalition.
He had black friends. That's not going to work.
No. He let them stay rent free in one of his buildings. The Rainbow Coalition, because he felt like at the time that was a very important thing. You can go pick apart somebody all you want. It is a traditional talking point to attack Republicans, to call them racist. But when you look at the things that he wants for this country, he wants every person to be successful. He wants Black Americans to be successful, Hispanic Americans to be successful, women to be successful. And he worked that way when he was in the White House. And whether you want to talk about actually funding in perpetuity historically Black colleges and universities, whether you want to talk about the First Step Act that allowed 30,000 nonviolent felons to be released from prison, who the 1994 crime bill actually put in prison. These are things that really have, I feel like, spoken to a lot of people.
Yeah, this has to be one of the biggest spins in the media, probably in history, how they turned someone who was so loved, but when they ran as a Republican for president, they all turned on him, of course. And obviously, he's not one to back down. So, of course, it also plays a factor. But here's the deal. If you were to look at the totality of his life, you wouldn't say that he's a racist.
See, that's the problem. They expect us to back down, and when they don't, we don't. They try to, they get, yeah, so that now we don't back down, but everybody's seeing y'all, like I said, y'all are the ones who started it. It's just like with Trump. You see, everybody loved him, and everybody's pointing it out. But they said it before. Everybody loved Trump. Now all of a sudden, 2016, they hate him. He's a racist. And they still, like I said, at this point, y'all dying with that shit. Y'all really are. It's just y'all rather just die on that hill.
The racist rhetoric only comes from the Trump deranged media, but not actually from concrete evidence or videotapes. And the Central Park Five is not a racist move or action, okay? And one more thing, if we really want to say that somebody is racist in today's political arena, I think one of the people that clearly is closest to that is Sleepy Joe Biden. I mean, this guy passed legislation targeting black people, okay? We know how he spoke to Clarence Thomas when he was trying to...
I was about to say, when you watch them videos, you can see it in his face. He looked at, it is like, well, how does it look at the video? How does it basically look, Okay, so how you know Trump racist just because of the way he looks? But what we see in Joe Biden, it's just like when you could tell somebody's lying to us. How can you tell when anybody's mad at you? Nigga, hey, nah, fuck that. What, yo, you better take that bass out, that bass out your voice. You can tell when somebody's mad for whatever reason. So don't try to play that stupid shit. Women, everybody can. Why you looking like that? And then some of us, that's the wrong thing to do. We don't get scared when what you looking like that for, nigga? That's a go ahead right there. You looking like that, okay.
Be confirmed, right, as the Supreme Court justice. I mean, come on. I mean, there's actually video footage, all right? There's no video footage of Trump being racist. There just is. Okay, so now we're on to the second thing that they always accuse Trump of doing, that he's a threat to democracy because of January 6th and that he's erratic and we can't trust him with the nuclear codes. She shut that down too. Watch.
And people gave him you remember before when he was running in 2016, they were like, we can't give this guy the nuclear codes.
I agree with that though. Even now to this point.
He was the only person, Charlamagne, not to get us into a new war. He was the one who got us the Abraham Accords, peace agreements that people said were impossible in the Middle East. So why are you concerned about Donald Trump with the nuclear codes?
Did you see what he did in January 6th?
What did he do?
He got a little
bit upset.
What did he do on January?
That's what I was about to say. Okay, now I don't like Shaw. I never did, seriously. Charlamagne, the fraud, because it's like January 6th. You see how stupid these niggas are? What does that have January? That is, did you hear what the Abraham Peace Accords? We might not know the details, but remember, I was leaving comments immediately. Trump got peace in the Middle East. I remember that. What was that, about 3 years ago? I was here, right? Or was I here? Yeah, no, I wasn't here. But I was like, yeah, he got peace in the Middle East. Because remember, matter of fact, the Breakfast Club, them New York folks, but Charlamagne the fraud, he from down here or something like that. But that's Hot 90s New York. There was a joke by like 91, 90. What I mean by a joke, for us gangsters who like gangster rap, back then, New York rappers, the late 80s, peace in the Middle East, peace out. Audi 5000, peace in the Middle East. Right, so I'm like, but some, not just on music. People I knew from New York for real. The older kids, they really said that. It wasn't just on. That's where the rappers got it from the street kids in New York City. Peace in the Middle East. It wasn't just on. I heard it in real life. They really peace out. This ain't, when I said stuff like I tried to clown. I'm like, I've heard this shit when it's brand new. You the fool only heard it on the radio or TV in the 90s, right? So But you know, that was it. You start shit, and then you know we get when we finish it for you, we're mean or something. You know, like yeah, Trump is unhinged. It's like basically you call people unhinged who don't take your shit. I don't know where y'all get it, and it's like who takes your shit? I don't know where y'all get it from. I think y'all only been in training, if you know what I mean. You don't have to been military. You've only been in training situations. Y'all did it to each other in training. And now that they set you loose into real world situations, y'all don't know how to handle. They didn't tell you how to handle people that's really gonna come at you. And so, you know, it's like she's like, this is the January. What are you talking about, January? What the hell did? First of all, there's proof that there were FBI agents dressed in Trump gear that tried to incite the riot. So that's another thing. Nancy Pelosi didn't, you know, have the Capitol Police there, and we don't want, you know, whatever, but they're gonna keep lying. So it's like, but what does that have to do with overseas, stopping wars overseas? That shows how. But even at least Charlemagne guy, he stopped it. He said that has nothing. He says, well, what he's trying to say, at least for himself, I stopped it. This first time seeing it, I'm gonna let it play. But he said he knows people watching gonna be like, that has nothing. Yeah, you dumb bitch. He knows it too. When he's not saying it because he feels caught. He just doesn't want to seem stupid like her. That is just stupid. That's comparing apples to oranges. Like what? What does that have to do with literally bringing peace to a region of the world that's been fighting since Bible days? Since the Bible days, it's like, yeah, the same two groups. And she, wait about it, you know, she thinks she's being smart, and you know, she really thinks she's intelligent. And that's what I'm saying. They setting these poor dumb people up.
He was the one who got us the Abraham Accords peace agreements. The people said were impossible.
It is like, yeah, I hate to say it, it's like the two adults is Lord Trump and Charlemagne. And the other, and she's just trying to sound, you know, smart. Like, what about January? What the fuck? He says it right quick. He says it under his breath. That's not even what I'm talking. Basically, he's like, that's no.
Well, in the Middle East. So why are you concerned about Donald Trump with the nuclear?
Did you see what he did on January 6th?
What did he do?
You got a little bit upset.
What did he do on January?
You see, he says it, brother. He said it's not even genuine. He's saying he's saying like, for me, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, but he still got to explain this dumb shit he said. Hey, I still think to this day he's unhinged and he don't need the codes. But you put a senile motherfucker in charge, or a lying witch who's trying to sell us out in charge of the nuclear codes, who'll give it to our enemies.
Use his words.
What words did he say, though?
The words that you said earlier.
Peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
And then what happened after that?
So how are his words actually contributing to that?
Because I think that for me, him being able to just push a button, hypothetically speaking, it's a little bit scary, because we've seen he gets a little bit erratic when he wants to.
Well, nothing happened for 4 years when he was in the White House. And in fact, we had a peaceful world. We had a stable world. We had world leaders who were coming to the table to talk about issues like Kim Jong-un of North Korea, by the way.
I mean, it's just common sense, right? It's just facts. Now,
it's pure fact. And these people are just, that's why I keep saying that y'all stop talking to these people, feeding their insanity.
Get into all that. If you're getting value from this video, please like, share, and sustain. They only want to tell one side of this story.
And it's not even one side. It's a phony. What they're selling is phony.
That's what they've done every step of the way. They don't want to talk about that there were obviously undercover FBI agents there. They don't want to talk about how the Capitol Police denied additional support. They don't want to talk about the National Guard request was denied. You know, at the end of the day, they don't want to tell the full story, because if they did that, clearly it would poke a hole in their argument against Trump as being a threat to democracy, which he isn't. We don't live in a democracy. That's one.
But it wasn't a peaceful transfer of power, and he did lead an insurrection in this country. And I know you keep saying the thing about the peace and patriotic part, but he
offered National Guard troops to Nancy Pelosi. She didn't want to take it. Look, here's what I can tell you.
He also said we fight like hell.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Everybody says that. We're going to fight. We're going to take the fight to Washington. We've been hearing that our whole fucking lives. As a kid, I never thought that meant really fighting. I thought it meant just like anytime protesting. Martin Luther King, the fight. They took the fight, meaning they marched peacefully. Nobody ever thought that meant really fight.
If you don't fight like
Okay, Charlamagne,
you're not gonna have a country anymore.
every politician, when you go out on the stump,
Even after you got shot at.
See, that's what I said years ago when they tried to say that. That's what he meant. I'm like, get the fuck. Every movie, every real life, our whole lives, we're gonna take the fight to Washington. Or there's the other video I was gonna play. I got the UAW. We're gonna take the fight to the union workers. Always was talking about the fight. To City Hall. We're gonna take the fight to City Hall. Meaning they're going to go out and protest. And there was never really a fight. Even in the movies. If anything, there was one, there would be one scene where some dude pull out a bat and the other dude, the union boss pull out a chain. And, that was the only fight. And that was probably a 70s movie, Nobody, only a stupid person would think. And they try to sit there and sound intelligent. But yeah, he said we're gonna fight. What the fuck? That is the stupid. No, that's just too stupid to be on the air.
Which was terrible. First thing he did when he stood up was say, fight who?
Why you run? It's funny. You run, you click on, then run. What? Stay and listen. Don't run.
He wants to keep fighting for this country.
And now we're on to the third biggest claim against Trump. It's funny how this is all lined up perfectly. The third one is the whole Russia hoax, right? They all think that Trump and Putin are best friends, and Trump colluded with Russia in order to steal the 2016 election. It's funny how I said the word steal, right? Because there's a lot of people who still believe that, but when Trump brings up 2020, he's wrong. Okay. But of course they bring up the whole Russia thing, and once again, she provides common sense.
Donald Trump is the only person who I believe they know in Washington, D.C., they can't control. And that's a very scary prospect to them. Because
But is he controlled by Russia, though?
Are you kidding me?
I'm just asking. I'm asking a question. Is he controlled by Putin?
Are you really? We couldn't have colluded with Iowa in 2016, let alone Russia, okay? And by the way, you want to know who did collude with Russia? It was Hillary Clinton and the DNC. And that was proven. They had the Steele dossier. They paid money to get Oppo research and make up stuff about Donald Trump. And guess what happened to them for trying to interfere in an election? You want to talk about the 34 felony counts via Alvin Bragg in downtown Manhattan? That was all about election interference. Hillary Clinton and the DNC admitted to doing this, and they got charged $83,000. Does that seem fair to anybody here? That's outrageous, and it's ridiculous, and every single person knows it. So does Donald Trump have anything to do with Russia? No, you know what he wants to do with Russia? He wants to get along with Russia so that we don't have wars in...
That's what I said. There's a difference between... You have to talk to your enemies. You can't just be a lone island. Like you say, America can't just stand alone. But like they said, the proven collusion with Russia was Hillary.
Europe right now. That's what he would like to see happen.
Yeah, so that's not something that gets talked about. Hillary Clinton goes around the media threatening to censor, right, people's First Amendment of free speech, trying to promote the idea of getting rid of these social media platforms or having the government have more control over them. But all this time, she was already punished for actually colluding with Russia. But the media doesn't want to talk about that. So again, that's why the media's trust has hit an all-time low. Part of the big reason why so many people love or hate Trump is because we know he cannot be controlled. Now, if you're establishment and you have, elites and donors in your pocket, right, supporting your campaign, you don't like that idea. If you're a person who gets rich off the military complex, you don't like Trump, okay? The bottom line is Trump is not supposed to be in Washington. He should be running his businesses, traveling around the world, living a great life.
I mean, I think if you look back at Donald Trump's history, he last night we were at the Al Smith dinner, and he was right there next to Chuck Schumer, and he said to Chuck Schumer, who's obviously a Democrat senator, he said, I gave Chuck his first check ever when he was running for like assemblyman or something. So yeah,
That's why Chuck was laughing so hard. Remember we asked why Chuck was laughing so hard? Chuck was laughing, boy.
I don't be liking the optics of that. Only reason I say I don't like the optics of that is because when you hear people like Chuck Schumer say things like Trump is a threat to democracy, but then you're sitting next to him yucking it up. Why would you be yucking it up with somebody who you consider a threat to democracy?
Well, you have to ask yourself that question, don't you? Maybe it's all scare tactics. Maybe it's a lot of fear mongering. Charlemagne, what I can tell you is I know Donald Trump. I have known him for 16 years, and Chuck Schumer's known him a lot longer than I have. And I think he knows full well he's not a threat to democracy. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Look at what he did when he was in the White House. Like, there was never any threat to democracy when he was in the White House.
There was
and
an
I would
attempted coup of the country.
Well, that you can argue that a lot of different ways. Peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard is not an attempted coup. What was a coup was when they replaced Joe Biden with Kamala Harris, who was not elected by anyone to run for president. There are 14 million people who voted for Joe Biden to be the nominee for the Democrat Party. And if you want to talk about a real threat to democracy, I would argue that.
They don't like the fact that someone from the business world who never ran for office before became the president. There's only so much you could do for people who have already made up their mind that they hate him. Doesn't matter.
Or that they still want to be slaves. All of them, they just done.
I want to start out by saying
there's a heaviness in this community. We've talked to people all day who have been following this case after learning that
I mean, yeah, back to this. As soon as I saw this, I just saw it about an hour ago. First thing I thought of is that Navy ship captain or commander, whatever you Navy rank, that sunk the ship. But they all, that's why they're giving her kudos. She sunk $100 million. Like I said, in the military, you could lose. They tell you about not losing a pair of NVGs. I don't know how much they cost, but you don't want to lose your NVGs or anything. That's coming out the check. But, where that $100 million coming from? Yeah, true enough, yeah, everybody, they save themselves. That's what they're trained for, all of them. She ain't do nothing special. She ain't save them people, they save themselves. They had more experience than her. And now these two women.
Growlerjet out of Whidbey Island crashed in a dense forest.
It's like somebody, I don't know.
Area, and still they're seeking answers. Aerial search crews found the crash site of an EA-18G Growlerjet that went down east of Mount Rainier last week.
I was super surprised. I didn't think that they would be going down or going. It definitely.
The event. Wildman was a naval aviator, naval flight officer, and part of the historic all-female Super Bowl flyover at.
They're too busy worried about his history, just like in New Zealand. Everything is historic. It's like they're trying to repeat and outdo the, civil rights, whatever, which was really historic. This isn't historic. This is, y'all forcing shit and forcing these women to do stuff they don't want to do. Black men, there's no difference. Men are men. Keeping one man down is evil. But we're not keeping women down. This is putting people in danger with this historic women type shit. You're killing people, and you're gonna kill more people. Well, here's what this say 2 minutes ago.
There's an incredible strength when our democracy is intact. An incredible strength in what it does to protect the freedoms and rights of
Whoa, the Los Angeles Times. That is big time Democrat. Who the New York Times? Yeah, they gonna ride till they die. They going down with the ship. But the LA Times, oh shit. LA Times like jumping ship. LA Times said, fuck this, we're out. They not going down with the Titanic. It does look like the whole Democrat Party is done for good. I don't know how we need a two-party system, but what's going to replace it? These folks are evil, though. And, you know, another thing they like to, you know, they said with the Titanic, you got the ones who just didn't believe it. You know, I'm talking about after it was when it was sinking, and they gave, you know, at first they didn't believe it, but I think these people, they're like, yeah, we the first bell, we're gone now. You know, we're not trying to grab our possessions or pictures of little Janie Mae. We're going to the lifeboat. The Los Angeles Times is getting the fuck out.
People. Oh, there's great strength in that. And it is very fragile.
So the Los Angeles Times refuses to endorse Kamala Harris. This is a huge blow to her campaign. It's like every single day that I'm sitting down and I'm reading the stories and I'm doing these videos, things continue to get worse for her. That's
what I'm saying. It's like, damn, I'm supposed to be baking my chicken. I got me some chicken legs. I got the oven warming up, but it's probably at temperature now. But
first thing. Second thing, her campaign for some reason is leaking that they are worried about her performance in the Blue Wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So what we're going to do is take a look at a few of these stories and talk about them. But let's start with the Los Angeles Times. Why does this really matter? Because this is a crazy story in my opinion. I live in California. Well, they endorsed her for Attorney General. They endorsed her as a senator. They clearly endorsed her when it was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on the same ticket. But now they're not going to endorse her. Why is that? Okay, so here's what they're saying. The owner of the Times will not allow the editorial board to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris or former President Trump. No reasoning was provided for the omission, which marks the first time since 2004 that the paper didn't endorse a presidential candidate.
They try to be slick, though. They still scared of the Democrats. So they're like, we just ain't endorsing nobody. Yeah, they riding the fence. They trying to ride the fence. Unstable. Pick a side, man. Pick a side. Don't try to ride the fence. All these cowards nowadays.
While the paper almost assuredly wouldn't endorse Trump, the lack of public support for Harris is notable given her ties to the community and state. Harris lives in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles with her husband and previously served as state attorney general and one of the California's 2 U.S. senators. A request for comment from the Harris campaign was not immediately returned, but the Trump campaign called the Times decision a humiliating blow. Even her fellow Californians know she's not up.
Exactly. LA Times, big time Democrats. I don't want to hear that shit about, well, they ain't endorsed Trump. We already knew they wouldn't endorse Trump. They're communists. Anti-American, the LA Times. But they didn't endorse their own comrade Kamala.
For the job, the campaign added. Now, what I find interesting is we should see more of this, and we have. If you think about all of those big union organizations who refuse to endorse Kamala Harris, you think of the Teamsters, you think of the International Association of Firefighters, you think of Border Patrol Union. I mean, there are some unions out there where you shake your head and you're like, what is going on? Even the Steelworkers Union didn't endorse her. So all of these unions, for the most part, besides the Border Patrol Union, has historically endorsed Democrats. But here's the thing. It's not about Republican Democrats. It's about Kamala Harris is not a likable candidate. Now, when you get that type of feedback from America, what does her campaign start to do? What do these Democrats who are Trump deranged start to do? For some reason, they want to blame it on the black man. They want to make it into a conversation about sexism and racism. Here's Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor in Georgia as a black woman. Here's her comment on why black men are not supporting Kamala Harris.
Do you agree that black men who are not voting for Harris and who didn't vote for you, as the pastor sees it, are misogynist? As he said, misogyny is still real in our community.
I would say, number one, I know it's a shock to everyone, but sexism remains real and a very pertinent issue. But I want us to be really...
Of course, the booger bear is going to call it sexism. No, it's not. But with Kamala has nothing to do with that. And like I said, I looked her up. We're the same age. We didn't live in the same areas of Georgia, but we're in Georgia the same years. And she was, she probably never moved. But I moved from New York. And we moved to Roswell, a white city. I'm from New York City. I didn't, we're the same age. Right now, whatever. Maybe she's a year younger than me. What racism was she talking about? This was Georgia. I ain't seen no racism. None whatsoever. But she's talking about sexism and da. But no. What else? The reason I brought that up, that was what she was running on before. I remember that's when I looked it up. Looked her up years ago, because she was talking about, I'm from Georgia, racism, and I'm like, what? And I said, let me see, and I looked her up. And like, wait a second, bitch, stop lying.
Clear that Kamala Harris is doing very well with black men. Black men are the second strongest cohort of Democratic voters. But we're
if y'all want to say, well, I think she's from the country in Georgia or whatever, it still ain't racism. They just didn't like that booger bear. Black people didn't like her either. So that doesn't mean, it was racism. So if a white girl made fun of her when she was a kid, or a white guy, I'm pretty sure the black people made fun of her too.
Is that she is showing them due respect by actually speaking to their issues. And those issues differ from other cohorts. I'm not quite certain why there is this panic about black men voting. They vote. In fact, they vote more than their counterparts in any other community for Democrats. However, we do have to acknowledge that there is sexism, there is racism, there are challenges in our electorate, and that's why it's so important that Kamala Harris is going everywhere and talking to everyone. She respects voters.
Like I said, it's like Kamala. She lies. Like I said, she lied. That's how I first noticed her years ago. She lies, just lies. It's like, you can't get mad. She ugly inside and out. If she was a nice person, I'm pretty sure everybody would have loved her. I'm talking about her. But clearly, she wasn't nice back then.
Where they are, and she refuses to be told that she has lost a cohort, lost a community, simply because she's different. The best candidates recognize that you win by meeting people where they are, and Kamala Harris is doing that every single day, and will keep doing it for the next 14 days until we get to Election Day.
Stacey, it's not that she's different. We just believe she's ill-equipped. We believe she's not a serious candidate. We believe she's not going to get respect on the world stage. We look at her record. We look at how much she's flip-flopped. We look at the pandering that's been going on. We look at the fact that she is not an authentic candidate, and that is something you can't manufacture. Now, Stacey Abrams, she was just responding to another interview from a black pastor who, he's got his own issues, by the way, so he has zero credibility on this. But he also insinuates that this is about sexism and misogyny. Take a look at this clip.
You said something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Yeah. Full stop.
So you just gonna support any black chick to be in charge of you? This nigga crazy. I mean, anybody call himself, like I said, if you grew up in the church, you heard, you not heard, you saw, we seen it. You learned that. If you come from, so I mean, it just hit me. What if you come from a church family, like you're literally the people, you're born to somebody like him, or people who really follow him, instead of people like I grew up with, who knew about stuff like that. It didn't follow snakes like that. And it's not because he disagrees. He just literally said that you can't think for yourself. Where does the Bible, nowhere in the Bible tells you not to think. It tells you to think. It tells you don't be double-minded. Think, make up your mind. Be prayerful. It don't say you got to follow some man, a preacher or not, a leader. And like I said, what it looks like to us, woe unto thee. Yet we keep putting corruption in high places. And really, there wasn't even supposed to be no kings no more. But the Jews, they what is that? You read the Chronicles or whatever, they begged for a king, and God gave in. But okay, so now we got leaders, world leaders, president, kings, and president, right? But at least the president is elected by the people and supposed, we can get rid of him every 4 years. In America, the whole country is supposed to be,
And Mordecai was man enough to know that in order for me to be a man, I got to know how to support a woman. Something.
What the hell does that mean? Supporting a woman don't mean she should be in charge. That's what I'm telling you. This guy's a fool.
And Mordecai was man enough to know that.
But you know what he's man enough? I'm pretty sure he was at the Puffy parties. He was. I'm pretty sure he's a preacher in Georgia, Atlanta. I'm pretty sure, like T.D. Jakes, he's one of them niggas. You hear the audience, nothing but women. And that's another thing. They've been saying that for decades now, since the late 90s. Nothing but women in church. Remember I told you, I don't go there. As a matter of fact, there's a church around the corner. And I drove by once. And yeah, just like I thought, all you saw is tight-ass skirts, big-ass thighs and asses coming out the church. That's all that, all these churches, nothing. Why do you think men ain't been, for decades, men ain't flocking to church? Well, all these women up in there, they talk about ain't no men. Nobody want to be around y'all demons. They know y'all fucking, but they don't even want to. They rather go fuck with a stripper. Did some bitch that's playing and hiding what she do. One way or the other. Yeah. She trying to ride the fence. No. Yeah. Yeah, all them hookers up in church. The church full of hookers. It's like, and these niggas, pimps, got a whole stable. You listen to his audience, number of women. They got a whole stable of hoes.
Don't know how to support a sister.
Yeah. Full stop.
And Mordecai was man enough to know that in order for me to be a man, I got to know how to support a woman. Something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Look, all the way, look. His church, he got AKAs. You see what I'm saying? All these rich black women. This Atlanta. This got to be Atlanta. The AKAs, all these, college, all these single ass. But look at her, booger bears. But like I said, majority of them though in church, a whole bunch of them. As you said, look like strippers with business suits on. That's what they normally look like. Them business skirts.
Sister that raised you. It was a sister that taught you how to.
And if you're single mom, that's not a good thing, Motherfuckers overcame that shit in spite of the sister that raised them by themselves. Right? Had to learn to be a man, all on their own or with their homeboys. This punk probably had a dad and all that type of shit, He's still a little bitch.
Read, it was a sister that taught you how to bathe yourself.
In the context of the vice president, were you trying to send a message?
We've got to be able to vote that misogyny is still real in our community. We've got to address it head on and not act like.
And why they making fools? The reason everybody's calling them fools is out there. You can't put it back in the bottle. You can't put it back in the bottle and say it's just because she's a woman. There's just way too much facts, evidence. She can't talk. She can't go off script. She can't do anything. And you're saying that, we're just, it's like I said, when Condoleezza Rice was on The View, shut them down perfectly. You know, all that, whatever. It ain't even about, you know, this and that. But you could tell someone who had a real experience in politics, not politics. It ain't even about politics. With her, the president, you could tell, the military type shit. Yeah, it's like, you know, like you don't know. Yeah, when she told that Sunny chick, you don't even know who you talking to. Like, please, yeah, little girl, go somewhere. You know, oh, almost like that. The one who was hosting the video, yeah, she can't use that. Oh, I'm a former prosecutor. Not on with Condoleezza Rice. So it's like, no, there's no misogyny. It's like, yeah, it's like you just put up a lame duck candidate. Yeah, like I said, so you can't get mad when we call you niggas clowns. And try to hide, oh, it's misogyny, hide behind that. It's like, no.
It doesn't exist. The reality is if black men had voted, Stacey Abrams would be a governor. And so I think that we've got to do some real redress that after racism, the biggest ill in America is sexism. And I think it's part of the responsibility of this generation to deal with it head on.
All right, so can we just take a step back and just exercise some common sense, all right? I really want us to dive into this. Okay, so what you're telling me is that the person who we're going to blame, the group we're going to blame if she loses, is black men. Because that's what's happening right now, right? You guys are going out there, you're trying to get these celebrities to get black men to vote, and not that you're encouraging them, you're trying to guilt them, you're trying to force them, shame.
Yeah, shame them, shame them, just guilt them, threaten them. A soft, a hint threat. You niggas better get in line.
Them into voting for her, knowing that she's not black, okay? Like, can we just keep it real? And what's sad is that the black community is now once again being made a fool of because of the shenanigans from the Democratic Party. I just, can someone please stand up and call this out?
It's what I keep saying. Y'all just keep it. Then y'all try to look. It did, like I said, they had these black folks all day to day. You know, it wasn't that many. Like I said, it was only like 3. So I can't say, but then I don't know how many drove by it. And they just keep making fools of y'all, and then y'all get mad at us for calling y'all out. That's where something is wrong. But you know what? We'll see. This shit, just crazy.